Hello, everybody. This is Nasira, and I am the Energy Architect. Today, we have with us Nita Sundararaju. Hi, Nita. Thank you for being here with us
Hi,
today.
thank you for having me over, Nasira. Thank you. This is a pleasure.
It's an honor having you because I know that there is a lot of wisdom that you have that you can share with us. And I believe this conversation is going to be fantastic. For the viewers who don't know Nita, let me just give a small introduction. Nita Sundararaju is an award-winning coach, energy alignment catalyst, and law of attraction expert. Nita is very interested in people and communities. She is the Chief Communication Officer of Ma to Mom, an online mothers community. She is an active member of the local ALM in her neighborhood and was also one of the founder members of Street Connect, the annual street festival of Thakur Village. She has been facilitated with Karamveer Chakra for her contribution to society. Her workshops and personal coaching have helped hundreds of individuals advance corporate careers, heal relationships, ease illnesses, and find joy in their lives. Today, Nita is going to talk to us about the law of attraction because the law of attraction is something that we all have our own ideas of it. We've all heard about it on social media. We've read about it. We have come across the law of attraction at some point or the other. And today we have a law of attraction expert actually talking to us and telling us as to, what's really the law of attraction. So Nita, please do tell us, what is the law of attraction?
Yeah, so the law of attraction is a fundamental law. It governs all of the universe and it is consistent everywhere. Just like the law of gravity is on Earth, no matter where you go, the gravity is pulling you down. No matter where you are, it's keeping you, close to the ground. Um, Even if whether I'm in India or in the US or any other country, it doesn't matter. It's consistent everywhere. In the very same way, the law of attraction is also consistent everywhere. And just like gravity, whether you know about it or not, whether you studied about it or not, whether you understand it or not, whether you believe in it or not, it's still acting on you. It doesn't matter whether you know about it. So, law of attraction is exactly the same way. It's not that we are putting the law of attraction to use. The law of attraction is in play no matter what we are doing. It's acting on everything we are doing. So, now to understand what the law exactly is, the law is everything that is similar in nature comes together. Like attracts like. When we were small, we learned about proverbs, and there's this proverb that says, birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, that's what the law of attraction is. Everything that is similar in frequency will be drawn to each other. That's exactly what the law of attraction is.
Thank you for very simply explaining that. I also believe that uh, spirituality, to some extent, blends into this. And could you kind of connect the spirituality part with the law of attraction? Are they connected? And if they are, how?
So, the one thing to understand, Nasira, is that everything is spirituality. There is nothing that isn't, because everything comes from the spirit. What is the spirit? If you really have to really delve into that, what is spirit? There is a non-physical aspect of all of us. We are all, to start on the basic, the universe is made of energy that's vibrating. We can call it universe, we can call it source energy, we can call it God. Okay. Uh, Different people from different beliefs call it different names. I like to call it source energy because that's the source of everything that happens in the universe. So, source energy is just energy that everything comes from. Now, we also come from that. so does everything else. The trees that you see around, the money that you want to earn, everybody else that is there, all animals, all birds, everybody comes from that source energy. So now when you say that, because most people feel the law of attraction is about attracting things you want into your life. So like maybe your money or your, the job you want, or, a great client that you want to get into your life, is all of that. Now you can say this is all material gains that you want. And the law of attraction is all about material. But there is nothing material without spirit. The spirit comes first. And that extension of the spirit is material. We are also material. And we are an extension of the spirit. So there is nothing wrong with material as opposed to spiritual, because there is no opposition there. Everything is spiritual first. Then it extends itself into material. So the law of attraction actually explains this to us. And the law of attraction insists that you acknowledge the spirit, align with it, and then everything works out your way. So the law of attraction is actually not a material thing at all. It's all about aligning with the spirit and raising your vibrations, because that's all or there is to it, your frequency, your vibration. It's all about raising your vibration. And then everything that matches your vibration shows up in your experience. It's not that you do this, so then you will get that. That's not how it is. It's you raising your vibes so that everything that matches your vibes shows up in your experience. Everything that you want is already existing. You just have to let it show up in your experience. Can I explain this to you with an analogy? We listen to the radio, and if I'm tuning into, say, 94.3, okay, and there are English songs that are being played there, but I want to listen to Hindi songs. Now, the Hindi songs are being played on a different channel, which is at, say, 91.1, okay? Can I stay at 94.3 and expect Hindi songs playing there? I can't. I've got to tune into 91.1, which plays Hindi songs, so that I can listen to them, so that, I can hear them. Now, even if I'm tuned into 94.3, does it mean that 91.1 is not playing Hindi songs because I haven't tuned in there? No, the songs are there. Okay? I just can't hear them. So, in the same way, everything that I want is already there. I can't experience it because I didn't tune into that frequency.
Right.
Yeah?
Oh,
That's what
yes.
it's about.
Very beautifully explained. Two things come to my mind. One is the need to be authentic in such a situation, because it's not about saying if I am going to make myself happy, that means I'm at that frequency. It's not that. How can somebody really wake their authenticity up in such a situation where they're not trying to be, but they are, it is their being?
Yes. So this is such a pertinent question, Nasira, because what I see in a lot of people is that there is a little toxicity that creeps in when you insist that you've got to be happy no matter what. Just think positive and, everything will work out. But imagine if you're unwell, okay, and you're really, really unwell, you've got aches and pains and you're not feeling good, and then somebody tells you, just think positive, you'll be fine. You really want to throttle that person at that time. That you're not going through what I'm going through. Please don't tell me this. So it's not about thinking positive no matter what. It's about acknowledging what you're going through. Because until you acknowledge what you're going through, you can't move from there anyway. Okay? So step one is acknowledge where you are. Acknowledge how you feel. When you're unwell, you feel helpless also. Apart from the fact that you have those aches and pains and you're feeling those, you're feeling helpless. You're feeling fear sometimes, depending on what you're going through. So until you acknowledge that I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling the helplessness, I don't know what I can do, Until you acknowledge that, you can't move from there. You've got to acknowledge where you are before you can move and take a step forward. So first thing to do is acknowledge where you are. And that's where authenticity comes in. Acknowledge where you are, what you're going through, what you're feeling, all of that. The moment you've done that, and you also tell yourself in that moment, it's okay to feel that way. I don't have to move to feeling positive right away. No, it's okay to feel this way. I'm justified in feeling this way. I'm justified because I'm going through all of this. It's natural that I will feel this way. That's where the authenticity comes in. Now, the moment you tell yourself it's okay to feel this way, the pressure of feeling positive, the pressure of feeling good right away lifts. And in that moment, you start feeling the relief. And immediately you feel a little better. So the way to feel better is to not make yourself feel better. It sounds very paradoxical, but it isn't. The way to feel better is to let yourself be okay with where you are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
tip.
So it's not about thinking positive. Yes. It's not about thinking positive. It's about wanting to feel good, which all of us, it's a natural desire for all of us. We want to feel good at all times. So to feel good, you have to be able to be okay with where you are. Until then, you cannot. Until then, you're always pressurizing yourself to move somewhere where you can't move in that moment.
Right. Nita, what
Yeah.
I'm seeing, through your explanation is the importance of this inner alignment to one's true self.
Yes.
And how do you think self-awareness and self-love can influence the effectiveness of raising your frequency?
Oh my God, it's everything, Masira. Everything. Because until you love yourself, you cannot feel good, you know. Until you tell yourself, I am not good enough, I am not worthy, I am unloved. When you have these beliefs about yourself, there is no way you can feel good. And everything you do, any action you take, is to compensate for the not feeling good. And every time you compensate for not feeling good, you're reinforcing the feeling of not being worthy or not being enough. So it becomes a vicious circle. And the more you don't feel worthy, the more you disallow good experiences to come to you. So you are the one who can allow things to come to you, and you're the one who can block things from coming to you. And your beliefs about yourself actually rule that. Okay. So I think self-love also, it's such a big thing. It's such a big thing that until you can love yourself, first of all, you cannot love others. You cannot uh, pass that on to somebody else. And what you're doing with others in relationships at such times is just compensating and people pleasing, because you believe pleasing them is what is going to get you the love that you want really from yourself. You're looking from others, looking for love from others, and which is the love that you actually need to give yourself. So until you give it to yourself, you can't even experience it from others. If you notice, and I've noticed this in myself, so I can tell you that from experience, that when I'm in the process of pleasing somebody, we all fall into that trap all the time, right? So when you're in the process of pleasing somebody, the thought process that's going on behind the actions that we take at that point are that until I do this for somebody, they won't love me. So the thought process is that I want them to love me, and I need to do this before they can love me. What can we do in such a situation is remind ourselves that it's not them that I'm looking for love from, it's me that I'm looking for love from. And if I love myself, will I allow myself to do this? Will I allow myself to take the same action? And then, our actions, sometimes our actions may not even change, but because our intention is different, you can get the results that you want.
Yes. I completely agree with
Yeah,
you.
actions can change, actions may not change, but really what is making all the difference is the intention behind the action.
Yeah. And, even
Yeah,
as a coach, I always feel that transformation is like an inside thing. When the approach has always been inside out, not outside in, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
So when
Yes,
the inside changes, when the inside of you changes, everything outside of you actually changes.
yes. So I'll tell you this. I learned law of attraction from um, the teachers called Abraham Hicks. Okay, and they have a quote that says, "Life happens from you, not to you."
Yes.
So it's all going out from you and then is being reflected back to you. So everything that's happening around us is a mirror to where we are vibrating. If we are vibrating at happy, everything around us is going to make us more happy. If we are vibrating at anger, there's going to be more things that bring anger into our experience.
Okay. I
So it's
agree with
always
you.
going out from here and then coming back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because, energy is, uh,
mm,
you cannot destroy energy. It can either be created nor
absolutely,
destroyed, but you can transmute energy. That's the only thing that you can do.
absolutely,
When you take that power within
absolutely,
you and transmute it into something that is positive, the ripple effect it has is just phenomenal. And
absolutely. I agree with you, Nasira.
so, I feel that the law of attraction also ties into some ancient spiritual teachings or universal laws. How do you think that is relevant? Do you think that it is like, whatever our ancestors or whatever whatever our scripts uh, said at one point, do you think it is now being played out, in another like way for us over here? Or
Yes, 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 absolutely. So I feel that all the teachers, whether they are ancient teachers, whether they are the modern teachers that are there now, they're all telling us the same thing. The words may differ, but the meaning is the same. The soul of it is the same. Um, what everybody is telling us is you are an extension of soul. In Christianity, they say son of God.
Hmm.
What does that mean? Extension of soul. I mean, just different words, but the meaning is the same. So we are all children of God, and we say it the same way in the law. When you're talking about the law of attraction, we say we are all extensions of soul. It means the same thing. I mean, growing up, I grew up as a Hindu, so growing up, we were always told that God is everywhere. It's inside of you, and it's outside of you, and it's in the tree, and it's in the car, and it's in everything that you see, living or non-living. So God is everywhere. If God is everywhere, if you really look at it, scientifically look at it, it's energy that's everywhere. And that energy is source. That is what we call God. And I am extension of that. You're extension of that. We are all coming from the same source energy. So yes, I think the law of attraction is telling us the same thing that our scriptures also tell us. Um, just the words are different. I personally don't understand Sanskrit. So if I have to read the old scriptures, I'll need somebody to translate them for me. Whereas when I read about the law of attraction, which is in simple language for me, because I understand English, it's just that it's a different language, that's all. But they're telling me the same thing.
Hmm. I also feel like we are kind of when you really get into
Yeah.
that kind of transformation, transmuting of that energy, there is like some kind of higher consciousness and a kind of a spiritual awakening that happens. Um, have you seen that in the cases that because I know you coach as well, and have you
Yes.
seen that happen?
Yes. Yes. I think starting with me, and then a lot of other people who've experienced the law of attraction in a very deep way. Um, yes, I think what really happens is that uh, you become consciously aware of the fact that there is a higher self, and you need to be constantly aligning with your higher self to feel good. Um, can I explain it to you in a slightly lengthier way? Um, there is you, and then there is your higher self, and both of you are looking at everything together. So if you're looking at, say, you're looking at the job you're going to do today, okay? Say you have to write out a report, and you're looking at that, the work you have to do, and your inner being or your higher self is also looking at that very same job while you're looking at it. Now you have an opinion about it. Oh, this is so boring. I don't know why I have to write out reports. And the inner being is not thinking like that. The inner being is thinking, oh, this is a great thing to be done. There is something in this. Um, because the inner being or the higher self is always looking at things with love. There is never anything less than love coming from the higher self. Okay. When you look at it like it's boring or tedious or anything, there is a difference in perspective, between you and your inner being and your higher self. So that difference in perspective, that gap in your perspectives doesn't feel good to you. You constantly want to be looking at things the way your inner being or your higher self does. Now, the moment you have that gap in perspectives, you start having a negative emotion. When you think of something as boring, do you feel good or do you not feel good? You don't feel good. Because, yeah, you never will feel good when you're looking at something and you're thinking, I have to do this, but it's boring. You will never feel good. Because there is a gap in perspective between the way you see it and the way your higher self or your inner being sees it. Now, that gap is what doesn't feel good, not the job. The job has no ability to feel good or not. The way we see things, that feels good or not. So our job is constantly to look at things the way our higher self sees them. And the more we see things from that perspective, the better we feel. The more we have a gap, the worse we feel. The higher the gap, the worse we feel. The closer the gap, the smaller the gap, the better we feel. So our job is really to look at things from the perspective of our higher self. Now, as you learn about the law of attraction and you learn that this is what I'm supposed to do at all times, you're actually acknowledging your inner self or your higher self, your spirit. And because of that, you are now, raising your vibes. And that transformation happens in acknowledging and in then matching the perspective. That is where the transformation happens. And every time that happens, you end up going away exhilarated.
Yes.
So, yes, so that is where the transformation and the transmutation happens.
I see in all of this the ego coming in somewhere. When we are to not have an opinion about it and do everything with love, which is, from the source, how do you take care of that ego? That says, that comes up with that perspective.
So every time you have a perspective that is different from somebody else's perspective, that is what really ego is. Your ego is your individuality, your perspective that is different from everyone else's. My ego is different from your ego, and that really is what ego is. My perspective, my selfish perspective. Generally ego is classified as a bad thing. But without having your ego, you can't have your own particular specific perspective. So instead of making it a bad thing, if we can look at our ego with love, then yes, I'm meant to have a different perspective. And then there are times when, that is what gives me the edge, that gives me a reason to then start looking at things differently, because without that ego, really, what do you have? You don't have a perspective of your own. So unless you have a perspective of your own, you're not an individual who's contributing in any way. So I feel, instead of looking at ego as a negative thing, if we look at ego with love, if we look at ego with providing us with an individuality that is required, then it doesn't come in the way, it contributes. So I think that's what we can do rather than curse ourselves for having an ego. Look at ourselves also with love, look at our ego also with love, because that's how our higher self sees it. Our higher self doesn't look at anything with less than love. And so even our ego is part of that whole universe that our higher self is looking at with love. So let us also do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm seeing this nice balance, between this harmony, that we create within us to be able to be in that, to have that, the right atmosphere for that manifestation to happen. And intentions play a huge part in kind of connecting all of this.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because that's like that thing that connects everything, right? It's most powerful with intentions, and would love to hear your perspective on that.
So you know what? There is an intention, then there is an action that goes with the intention, and then there's a result. Now all of us believe that the actions get us results. But it's not the action that gets us results. The action is by the way. It's the intention that gets us results. If you look back at everything that's happened in your life, you will see that your results always matched your intentions. Okay? And so if you really want to know what your intentions were, look at your results. It will tell you. The actions really are incidental. Okay? We do take action because we are in the physical world and we do take physical action. And it's part of the joy of creating stuff. But really, what matters is the intention. So if I'm going to be talking to my daughter, supposing I have an intention. Now, supposing she's done something that I don't like. Now I can have an intention. I can have multiple intentions, but say I have an intention that I want her to feel bad about what she's done. Okay. And I scold her. And I will see that she's feeling bad. She's feeling guilty. I will make sure that happens. But if my intention is to give her the love that she needs so that she knows for herself that she's done something that she should not have done, and there's no need to feel guilty, but you can move on from there, then even though I scold her, even though I shout at her, she is not going to feel bad. She's not going to feel guilty about it. She's going to, in both cases, I would have shouted at her, but my result will be different because my intention was different. Yeah. So intention is really very, very important. And your intention stems from what you're feeling in the moment. Okay. So if I'm feeling angry and maybe helpless because my daughter's done something that I don't like, and I really don't know what to do about it, and so I'm feeling very helpless about it, I'm feeling angry and frustrated and all of that, then my intention will be to make her feel bad. But if I'm coming from a place of love, and I know that young people will do things that are not always most appropriate, but they learn from that. They always learn from that. So I know that I'm coming from there. Then my actions and my results will follow that. So where you come from, where you come from is where your intention will also come from. So where you come from is your vibration, and then your intention will depend on your vibration. Say, I also want to add here that your vibration and your emotion is the same thing. Yeah. So what you're feeling is what you're vibrating at. And so what you're feeling will determine your intention, and then action, and then result. So always very important, very, very important is to start with feeling good. When you
Right.
start with feeling good, the results will follow accordingly.
Yeah. And not keep it to a state where it's like a reaction. Uh, you
Yes,
know, uh, if we
yes,
can actually check it at that point, not wait, not let it become a reaction, but to be the stimuli for love, and that's a great
yes.
way to really go about it. And when we talk about energies, you're right. Uh, your your thoughts, emotions, and all of this just creates your frequency, and that is what really affects our reality. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
and something that you spoke about just now was about how we can approach everybody with love. Okay, and you just brought up this example of how you could respond to your daughter, right? Or how you could take it forward with your daughter instead of a reaction, because of whatever
Yes.
is inside of you. And I think today's youth, if they were dealt, if somebody was there to help them see that or give them that, um, I know that there could be a huge transformation in the future of tomorrow. And I am aware that there is something that you're creating. Would love to hear about it.
So, very, very excited about this, Nasira, and I'm so happy that you're bringing this up now. I'm creating something that's really new. It's never been done before. I'm creating a curriculum for um, the youth, for undergraduate students, where they can learn the law of attraction in college. So I've already started working with one college, and I'd love to take this forward to a lot of other colleges everywhere. Um, the new education policy has given colleges freedom to have co-curricular courses, or open electives, as they call them. Um, and they have freedom. Colleges have freedom to have their own courses. There's no prescribed courses for those. So I've already started working with one college, created a curriculum for 2 credits. And this is something that I really, really want to take forward with the youth, because I think the youth is so open. I find that children that age, 18, I shouldn't even call them children because they're adults by then, 18, 19, 20, they are so open to learning new things, unlike some of us old hags who, maybe are fixed in our ways and stuff. So, so I find that children are so much easier to work with. They're such a pleasure to teach. They really are sponges, they just soak it all up. So I'd love to take this forward so that, if there's a whole generation of them understanding how things work and making it, you know, using it to their advantage, I think we'll have such a happy, happy generation growing up. And
Yeah.
no, not just, yeah, we want them to be successful, and we also want them to be happy, because ultimately, what is success if happiness is missing, right? So I feel that, we need to really help them grow up happy. So I would love them. This is something I really look forward to doing more of.
I'll tell you what happened with me when I grew up. I had to fall so many times and get up so many times, and every time I got up, I would think that this is not the right way to do it, so let me try it this way. Then I'd fall down again. I'm talking about, so I've constantly had this tug of war because there's not been
Hmm.
any guidance. Okay. I
Yeah.
say that my spiritual growth has happened after falling down so many times. And I had so many times wished somebody was there to guide me, to tell me or to mentor me and tell me that, buddy, that's not going to work. it would have saved me some 20 years, seriously. And I can just about
I
imagine,
understand that. Yes. Yeah.
but I can imagine how, if at a very early age you are aligned with who you really are, and when you put yourself out there authentically, with this kind of energy which you have chosen, I can only
Yes.
imagine miracles happen.
That is so wonderful. The picture you painted for me right now, um, is wonderful. And yes, I completely agree with you. There never was any guidance available. Not because of, it wasn't the fault of our parents or teachers, because they didn't have that same guidance also. So we've all, our parents included, our teachers included, and us, we've all learned by trial and error. Now, if we can use all our trials and errors and pass that on, the learning, to the younger generation, I think it would be great for them. It's up to them how much they want to take from us, but yes, it would be great that we can pass it on to them, ready on a platter, and then learn, for them to be able to have our learnings ready for them, and then they incorporate that into their lives and then learn more from there, because that becomes their um, point of takeoff. We had to reach this place,
Yeah.
but for them it will be the point of takeoff. So yes, they have that quantum leap possible for them, if that guidance is available, and I'd love to be the one who's providing that. Yes.
I'm sure you will. I
Yeah.
love this integration, the integration of everything that you're saying with a young mind. The one thing I do see is some amount of frustration, waiting for things to manifest. I have seen a lot of people saying, I'm done manifesting. I don't know when it'll happen. Why do you think something like that happens? Patience is okay. Okay, it's not
So
everybody's thing, but
mhm.
also people get uh, frustrated waiting for something to happen. So where did it go wrong?
Okay, we'll use a simple analogy again, because I think that really works to explain. Supposing I live in Mumbai, and I decide today I'm going to drive to Pune. Okay. And I'm driving. I reach Panvel, which is where there is a major expressway that starts from there. Now I've reached Panvel, but I'm thinking I still haven't reached Pune. This is not working. I think what I'm doing is not working. I'm not reaching Pune. So I turn back. Okay. And I say, this is not really working for me. And then I say, no, but I have to go to Pune. I want to go to Pune. So I'm going to start again. I drive again. I reach Panvel and I say, this is not working. I'm not reaching Pune yet. I still haven't reached Pune. This is really not working. I'll go back. And so I go back. And I keep going to Panvel and come back, keep going to Panvel and come back. And then it's years that I keep doing that. And then I tell myself, but this doesn't work. This road is not the right road to take. So you have to persist. You have to keep moving. It works. It always works. But if you turn back, if you keep telling yourself, this is not working, I'm going to turn back, then it's not going to take you there. If you're on the right road and yet you're coming back, you keep going on to the right road and then coming back. Yeah. So it's not that you need patience. Okay. You don't need patience. You need patience. When do you need patience? You need patience when, you know, you know things are not happening, so I better be patient because I have to keep waiting. But when you know something is happening, okay, when you go to a restaurant and order something, do you keep patience? You know it's going to come. You're not patient. You're just doing your own thing, you know. So ask for what you want and then do your own thing. It will come at its time when it's ready, and when you're ready for it, it has to show up. So rather than telling yourself, oh, I've got to do something, and then it's not really working out for me,
Right.
just know that it's coming. What really is missing is the knowing that it's coming.
Right.
because the universe always gives what you ask for. You know, it's never ask and it is not given. It's always ask and it's given. Always. So that's what the law of attraction is all about. You ask and it is given. Always. The only thing is you have to let it in. You have to allow it into your experience. You have to tune into that frequency, you know. So until you tune into that frequency, it's not going to show up. You have to keep looking at tuning into that frequency. So you don't need patience. You just need to tune in.
Right. And you also need gratitude.
Yeah.
It transforms the entire journey.
Yes.
And surrender.
Yes.
Surrender is
So
such a
gratitude comes from where? So gratitude and surrender, two very important things. Uh, when are you grateful? You're grateful when what you want has happened, right? So learning to be grateful in advance of what you want to happen actually it means you're tuning into that frequency. Yeah. So once you tune in, then you're leaving the universe with no choice but for it to provide what you asked for, right? So yes, gratitude is very important. Appreciation is very important. Not just gratitude. I say appreciation is also very important. Appreciating where you are, appreciating what is, appreciating everything around you. That is the frequency of love, actually. When you love, you're appreciating everything around you. When you've just fallen in love, everything is bright and rosy. Yes, because love actually helps you appreciate. Yes. So gratitude and appreciation, very important. It definitely raises your frequency. And surrender. Now, um, surrender has different meanings for different people. So at some point when things don't work out your way, people feel, I have to surrender because it's not working out. I just have to give in to that. But surrender is really not about giving in or giving up. Surrender is actually about accepting what is. Okay? Everything is the way it is, and it's always working in your favor. There is nothing ever going wrong. If this is something we understand, it's easy to surrender. Knowing that it's always going to work out in my favor, it becomes a lot easier to just surrender and say, okay, I know it's all working out in my favor, even if sometimes it feels like it's not. There are sometimes things go the way you don't want them to go. And so you're facing an unwanted situation. Now, you know what an unwanted situation does? It helps you to clarify what you really want.
So true.
I don't want this, which means I want that. So when you're facing unwanted situation, you're clarifying what you want. And when you're facing a wanted situation, you're getting what you want. So either way, it's always working out for you. Yeah. So if we know that it's always working out for us, and then we face an unwanted situation, it becomes easy to surrender and say, yeah, that's okay. This is helping me clarify. And so it's still working out in my favor. It's easy to surrender, accept. Yeah.
And that's when the trust comes in, right? What you just mentioned a little while back.
Yes.
It's the trust.
Yes. Absolutely. It's the trust. It's the knowing that, it's always working out. Always.
Nita, people, when you talk about the law of attraction, they are thinking about these material wealth. Car, house, job, and how can we get a spiritual abundance and fulfillment? How do you think we can, manifest something like that?
So even though people are looking for the car, house, and job, and stuff like that, which is very, very material, it's important to ask why we want it. Okay, what we want, we know usually. Okay, I want this car, but why do I want it? And I ask myself why I want that particular car. Say I decide I want a Mercedes. Okay, and why do I want a Mercedes? So if I'm honest and I answer that question, okay, because it'll make me feel like I've achieved something. So why do I want to feel like I achieved something? Because when I've achieved something, it makes me feel good about myself. So ultimately, why do we want anything that we want? Because we want to feel good about ourselves.
Mm.
And sometimes not even about ourselves, but we want to feel good. We just want to feel good. Everything that we want because in having it, we believe we will feel good. Yeah. So it's not really about material desires at all. None of us just want material desires. We want those material desires so that we feel good. And feeling good is all about raising your frequency. Nasira, we just talked about that a little earlier. That we feel good um, when our perspective matches that of our higher self, right? So we believe that in having that, we will feel good. But the only way to have that is to first tune in, first feel good, and then everything that matches our feeling good will show up. So the spiritual nature of everything comes in first. Once that is sorted out, then the material stuff shows up in our lives. So our raising our vibe, raising our frequency comes in first. Only when we manage to do that, do we manage to get all the material stuff that matches that. So our spiritual, see, if you look at anybody who's successful um, in the material sense, okay, they have to have found something that spiritually moves them. If they can't, they will not even reach that level where they are doing well for themselves materially. So, which the converse of which is not true. I will not say that those who are not doing well materially are unhappy people all the time. No, so the joy that we believe we are capable of, when we reach that place, is when we also allow everything else that brings us joy to show up in our experience. Now, for you, the joy may be in a car. For me, it may be in, just having my family around. So people have different things that causes joy, that means joy to them. Okay, and so their success, it comes in those ways. If you tune into joy, you're going to get things that bring you joy, and it can be different things for different people.
Right.
So success really cannot be measured in that one way, but spirituality can. Your joy, your love, that is your spirit really. And that, when you can manage to tune into that, then everything around you becomes even materially matching that.
Mm. Yeah. I love how
So
it is
spirit
all
always
coming
comes
back.
first, Nasir.
I
Yes,
love how it's all coming
absolutely.
back to alignment. घुमा फिरा के like comes back to alignment.
वहीं पे आता है.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes,
beautifully
because there's
said.
nothing except that. Yeah, there is nothing except that. It's all about our whole journey, the life journey of life. It's all about finding alignment, getting off alignment, then finding it again, then getting off alignment. But that when you go through an ECG echocardiogram, okay, when they put those little they connect you to the ECG machine. What tells you that you're alive? How do you know that your heart is beating well? There's the up and the down, the up and the down. And that's what says it's life. Okay. The moment that's not there and you see a straight line, it means there's no life. Right? So the up and the down is what is life. And that is so not just for your heart beats, it's so for your life journey itself. You're going to be in alignment and then off it and then back in and then off it. And that's what it's supposed to be.
Yes. And
Yeah.
if everybody can really understand this, at the core of what it is, and the core of who they are, and if we can just take one step every day in the direction of what our true purpose is and listen to the source, okay, I believe that it'll truly be a beautiful, harmonious place to live in where everything is just like so synchronized. Such a beautiful picture.
So I'll tell you, I want to add to that, Nasira, just a little bit. It already is that way. It already is that way. When you look at it from a place of love, when you look at it from the eyes of source, um, you see that everything is just working out perfectly well. Everything is. The world is in smooth motion. Look at the number of planets that are revolving around the sun, and none of them have collided with each other. It's not just, coincidence. It's all working out the way it's meant to be. It's all
all
working out in
exists.
harmony. Yes, and there are things that we don't like, but that is what causes us to think about what we do like. That is what causes us to think about what our preference would be, what we would want instead. So all of it is just working out perfectly well right now.
Right. And that's when that self-awareness is so important, because if you're not tuned into that, if you are not listening to that, you're going to miss it. And you'll just like that cycle back on repeat.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So this is what I tell everyone who I coach, that, your only job, your only job is to look at things from the way your inner being does, or the way your higher self does. Your only job is to align yourself, which means your only job is to find a way to feel good, to feel happy. If you can manage to do that, your life is sorted.
Super. So, Nita, how is it that people can reach out to you? Because, I will add in, your contact details, but you you do coaching as well, right?
Yes, I do personal coaching 1-to-1. Yes, I do.
Right. So I
Yes.
will share the details of how they can get in touch with you in case they would like to, connect with you and understand more. And
Thank you so much, Nasir. I really appreciate that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for doing
I
that.
mean, I could talk to you like forever on this topic, because there are other things now that are coming into my mind, and I will ask you that separately. But it's been such a pleasure talking to you. You really lit up my morning, and it's been a beautiful conversation.
Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it myself. Thank you for having me here today, because it's my favorite subject to talk about. And anyone who gives me an opportunity to talk about the law of attraction, I'm thrilled. So thank you. Thank you for this.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on today. And that's it from me. And that was Nita Sundararaju. We will be back again soon with another episode. This is the Energy Architect signing off. Atma Namaste.